She was the kind of actress who could command a room without ever needing to raise her voice. A legend from Hollywood's golden age. Radiant, fearless, unforgettable. But in the stillness before dawn, that light finally dimmed. At 1:50 a.m., Sally Kirkland, the Oscar-nominated star whose passion once lit up every stage, took her final breath. It happened just days after she entered hospice care, a step no one wanted to believe was the last. Fans around the world woke to disbelief, their timelines overflowing with tributes and heartbreak. For Hollywood, this wasn't only the passing of a star, it was the closing of an era built on authenticity and courage. Behind the red carpets and applause was a woman who'd survived storms few ever saw, broken bones, betrayal, and a system that often forgot its own heroes. Yet until her final day, Sally carried herself with the same quiet strength that made her unforgettable. Because this isn't just the story of an actress's death, it's the final act of a woman who refused to let her light go out, even as the curtain fell. The news didn't break through tabloids or gossip sites. It came from her longtime representative, Michael Green, a man who had stood beside her through decades of triumphs and tears. His voice, heavy with emotion, confirmed what everyone feared. Sally Kirkland had passed away at 1:50 a.m. PST. "She will be deeply missed," he said. 5 words that carried the weight of a lifetime. Only days before, her friends had shared an update on her GoFundMe page. One final message from a woman who gave everything she had to the world. "Sally is on hospice now and resting comfortably," it read. "Please hold and send the light for Sally." It was gentle, hopeful, like a whispered thank you to everyone who had ever loved her. No one could have imagined that within days, that light would fade for good. Her loved ones said she was peaceful, surrounded by care, still grateful, even as her body began to let go. Gratitude and grace until the very end. Her decline had begun quietly, with a fall at home that changed everything. A simple slip in the shower left her with fractures in her neck, a broken wrist, and a shattered hip. For anyone, the pain would be immense. For someone in their 80s, it was life-altering. She tried to stay positive, assuring friends she'd bounce back soon. But the road was crueler than anyone could have predicted. Those injuries brought 2 severe infections. Each hospital stay drained not just her body, but her finances and spirit. Insurance covered only the first 100 days. After that, she was on her own. The woman who once graced red carpets suddenly found herself fighting to afford the care she needed just to survive. Friends revealed she'd received bad advice from a financial manager, advice that left her savings nearly gone. How could a woman who worked for decades, starred in over 200 films, and earned an Oscar nod end up struggling like this? Then came another blow. In 2021, the Screen Actors Guild removed supplemental insurance for members over 65, leaving veterans like Sally abandoned by the system that once celebrated them. But what broke hearts most wasn't her injuries, it was the feeling that Hollywood had forgotten her. When the industry turned away, her fans turned toward her. A GoFundMe started quietly, a few $100s at first, but soon became something larger, a wave of gratitude. People remembered how her performances made them feel. They remembered Anna, the film that moved them to tears. They remembered her spirit, and they wanted to give back. More than $60,000 poured in from strangers who felt like family. Comments read, "You inspired me to act. You made me brave. You proved it's never too late." Every message reminded the world that fame fades, but influence doesn't. Her friends, many retired artists themselves, made sure she was never alone. They handled her care, her calls, her comfort. It wasn't charity. It was repayment. For every moment she'd given them light, they now returned it. It was bittersweet to see the world rediscover her only in her final chapter. But for those who knew Sally, this was about love, not pity. Her fans gave her what Hollywood forgot: dignity. Because before the decline, she was a woman who had reshaped what it meant to be an actress. Long before her name lit up marquees, Sally Kirkland was a daring young dreamer from New York City. Raised in a world of art, fashion, and fearless self-expression. Her mother, Sally Kirkland Sr., was a Vogue fashion editor, while her father, Frederick, was a metals dealer. Steady, grounded, the perfect counter to his wife's creative world. That balance between glamour and grit became Sally's foundation. By the 1960s, New York's art scene was exploding, and Sally was right at its heart. Andy Warhol himself once named her one of the 13 most beautiful women of 1964. Not for appearance alone, but for the unfiltered confidence she carried. She was raw, unapologetic, electric. In 1968, she did what no actress had dared before, appearing completely nude in the off-Broadway play Sweet Eros. It wasn't shock for shock's sake, it was liberation. A statement in an era when women in Hollywood were told to stay within lines. Critics were divided. Audiences couldn't look away. She was no longer just an actress. She was a movement. From that moment on, Sally Kirkland became synonymous with fearlessness. Every role she took was alive, unpredictable, dangerously honest. She didn't play characters. She became them. And that fearless streak led her to the performance that would define her. Anna, 1987. After years of overlooked brilliance, she finally found a role that mirrored her life, an aging actress fighting to stay relevant. Sally didn't act that story. She lived it. The result was hauntingly real. Critics called it raw, unflinching, achingly human. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actress and earned her Academy Award nomination. For one radiant moment, Hollywood finally saw her truth. But Sally never chased trophies. Over a career spanning more than 200 credits, she brought life to everything from gritty indie dramas to studio hits like Bruce Almighty and Charlie's Angels. Directors called her fearless, unpredictable, unforgettable once the camera rolled. And yet, as the years passed, the spotlight shifted elsewhere. While others faded, Sally kept teaching, mentoring, and guiding, proving that artistry is measured not in fame, but in what you leave behind. Away from the lights, she found peace in spirituality. She became an ordained minister, taught yoga, led meditations, and helped others find calm amid chaos. Friends say she never turned away a call from someone struggling. She'd listen, laugh, and remind them that peace mattered more than fame. Barbra Streisand once called her a woman of wild courage. Liza Minnelli said Sally pushed her to take risks. To them, and to countless others, she was more than a colleague. She was a compass. In her later years, her home transformed into a sanctuary, filled with music, incense, and serenity. Even as pain persisted, her spirit stayed radiant. She became, in her quiet wisdom, something greater than a star. A guide. When her journey finally ended, Sally didn't leave behind wealth or mansions. She left love. Her godson, cousins, and loyal friends now carry the memory of a woman who lived boldly and loved deeply. They said she faced her final moments with grace, whispering, "Thank you," and "I love you" until the very end. Her message was simple: keep your heart open, even when the world shuts its doors. As news of her passing spread, tributes filled social media. Actors, directors, and fans alike shared clips, memories, and gratitude. One wrote, "She didn't just perform, she lived every role." Another said, "Hollywood may have forgotten her, but we never did." For those who knew her, and even those who didn't, Sally Kirkland's legacy is resilience. She proved that true artistry isn't about wealth or fame. It's about honesty, courage, and connection. Her story began in the spotlight but ended in serenity, the perfect ending for a woman who lived every scene with heart. Her light may have dimmed, but her fire will never go out.